What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely, very toasty Sunday afternoon. We appreciate you guys' patience. I am Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, and I am, as always, joined by my co-host Andrew. Don't get it twisted, Lapiche, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you once more for stopping by on this lovely Sunday evening. And my voice sounds a little stuffy. I must have partied a little too hard last weekend for the 4th of July because I seem to have coming down something, and it's almost like my body's fighting it off. So I'm killing the allergy meds, I'm killing the Mucinex, I'm killing all that good shit. So if I sound a little stuffy, I actually feel much better. It's just those last little bits and pieces of phlegm that are just gonna bleh out. So don't mind my odd tone because that tends to happen when I'm actually feeling better. But as always, we appreciate you guys stopping by because there was no freaking way that we're going to skip this Sunday show after what happened last night. That is going to be one of the topics that we're going to be covering primarily. That one, I guess, kicking the show off with this farce that was the UFC main event yesterday. The rest of the card was actually pretty solid. It's just unfortunately the main event came up short. Hell, even breaking a live attendance gate record, reaching 26 million or something or other, only for it to end like it did. Unfortunately, bad news for one Conor McGregor. I'm sure you guys know it by now. But boy, are the conspiracy theorists out with a force today, son. They got their tinfoil hats on talking about this being rigged, all of the stuff because of the bets and everything. And boy, we're going to definitely throw in our 2 cents into that. And that's one of the topics we're going to kick off the show with, that topic, of course. But also the big news that happened during the week: Shakur Stevenson signing with Zuffa Boxing. And man, the critics are out. Like they're just as many critics as there are conspiracy theorists regarding the Conor fight. But man, everything and everybody and their mamas coming out of the woodwork talking about the repercussions of Shakur signing with Zuffa, ducking all these people over here on DAZN, yada yada. Man, people are kind of pissed, unfortunately, and it seems as though maybe we're back to square one with Showtime and HBO not crossing the street, and maybe avoiding a lot of fights that he could potentially be fighting, fighters that he could be fighting if he was over with his own. But we're going to throw in our 2 cents on that. In addition, man, this is going to be a very Shakur heavy show because in addition to him signing, boy, that altercation, that interaction with Shannon Sharpe, we're going to throw in our 2 cents to see who was right or who was wrong because, man, they went at it. And you're going to have your morals and have your decisions, whose side you or whose side of the fence you land on with how this went. But boy, did it escalate pretty quickly. And on top of that, once again, UFC and their damn graphics getting the name wrong on Shakur, calling him somebody else the way they did Crawford pretty damn dirty recently or some time ago. But it happened again, and Dana definitely let everybody know his feelings on it during the post-fight press conference. So we're going to be talking about that in addition to everything else. That Shakur news is going to be up there. So it looks like we were supposed to have gotten Ryan Garcia and Conor Ben fight announcement at the weigh-ins, but once more, Oscar said, let me go ahead and pump the brakes on that, and sent another cease and desist letter and said, nah, you're not going to do that without me. So it looks like we didn't get it, although oddly enough, they were on stage, weren't they, during the weigh-ins yesterday or Friday afternoon. But it looks like maybe they were on their way of doing that, and then Oscar decided to throw in his cease and desist letter and get that halted real fast. We're definitely going to go to town on that topic, of course. Continuing on with the more Shakur news, it looks like Devin Haney might give up his WBO belt to fight Shakur under the Zuffa banner, maybe even at this 144-pound catch weight. Not a big fan of it, but again, we're going to throw in our 2 cents of what we think, whether or not this is really going to go down, whether it benefits Devin Haney to any degree or not, and we'll see whether or not this fight actually ends up happening or announced, because we're hearing who Shakur might or might not fight, and Devin Haney might be one of the front runners. One of the other fights that may be happening here in the near future, specifically under the Matchroom banner, we might get Jaron Boots Ennis and Josh Kelly in a unification bout at 154 pounds. It looks like that's likely where it's headed. They're both under Matchroom, so it seems like the easier one rather than to deal with the whatever drama's going on with Oscar and Virgil, and maybe not working with PBC quite yet and Fundora. So it looks like we're going to be talking about that and seeing whether or not we want to see this one. It's a unification, sure, but now it seems to be a formality. Seems like one of the last ones we want to see. And it looks like we might have seen the very end of Joe, the Juggernaut Joyce. This weekend, he fought on a card. I think it was a co-main event on a card, and he pulled an Oliver McCall in his rematch with Lennox Lewis, and basically just said, "I'm done." In the middle of the ring, the referee was like, "Okay, call it." We'll be talking about that. So want to throw in our 2 cents on the career, the way the career ended for one Joe Joyce. Okay. So before we get crack-a-lackin', as always, a word from our channel sponsor, Health y Sol, or Health y Sol. Make sure to check them out. If you happen to find anything you might want to try, make sure to use the code MADBoxing10 at checkout and get 10% off of your purchase, or follow the affiliate link that's going to be in the description of this video and get the same 10% off. As always, lavender patchouli is my favorite scent, so just to kind of give you guys a bit of a hint, it's a relatively inexpensive way to support the channel and show us your support, so we always appreciate that. Make sure to give them a try, Health y Sol or Health y Sol. And as always, like, subscribe, share, and comment. We like to hear from you guys, so let's go ahead and throw that in there before we get crack-a-lack on the show. All right, excuse me. Let's address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, the referees at the Argentina game. No, I'm just joking. No, but boy, yesterday, man, the main event, holy hell. If you guys are living under a rock or haven't been to your social medias lately, Conor McGregor made his return to the octagon, to the UFC last night at UFC 329. And what was pretty much a pretty solid card. The fights were fun as hell. The undercard bouts were pretty good, and the co-main event, although it ended relatively quickly, might have produced another star in Paddy Pimblett. But boy, the main event, you know, everybody was looking forward to it. The rematch between Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. They fought several years ago. I think 2011. I think it was many years ago. They were different back then, of course. It was essentially as Conor McGregor was rising in the featherweight division, and this was, you know, many moons ago. And this was his comeback fight right after breaking his leg. If you guys watch that highlight, boy, that looked horrendous. A very serious injury, an injury a lot of people did not think that he would come back from because of how bad it was. And he made his return to the octagon last night, and seconds into the fight, he tries this leaping fucking kick, a drop kick. I don't know, man, Owen Hart style drop kick or something. And the foot or the leg that is bearing most of his weight gives out from underneath him. He falls. He kind of hides a little bit. He tries to throw a kick again. He falls back again. And Max Holloway immediately notices that there's something wrong. And he's like, yo, what the fuck? And we were like, Max, keep throwing. What the hell, right? Even Conor McGregor himself, and Max said afterwards, was telling him, fight, dude, fight. Let's go. And he's like, what the fuck you mean fight? He turns over to the ref, Max, and he's like, this guy's not good. So he backs up. He's like, all right, if we're going to fight, we're going to fight. Get your ass up then. So he backs up. He stands back up. And while he's up, he's having a hard time putting any weight on that right leg. Immediately winces, immediately lifts his leg. The referee recognizes immediately and calls a halt to the action. We have ourselves a winner by TKO, Max Holloway. Unfortunately, this bizarre, very bizarre transaction that happened, transpired in the octagon. It was weird, and it's sad that sometimes fight like this ends like this particular scenario. It's almost like, I guess, in the boxing world, when there's a real serious headbutt and a cut that happens within a round or two, and you're like, damn it, it just totally ruins the whole fight, right? So but it didn't take too long for the conspiracy theories to come out, theorists to come out of the woodwork and started, yo, this shit was rigged, yada yada. They even posted, or the UFC did this. I kind of blame the UFC for this one here. They even showed a video of Conor taking off his shoes before he goes into the octagon. And I mean, it didn't look like anything. It looks like he just lost his balance when he's taking off his shoes. We've all done that. It didn't look like he winced or that he couldn't put any weight on his leg. I mean, the side that he stumbled on wasn't even the leg that ultimately got injured. So it was just weird the way that they're coming out of everywhere. But if you look at the odds for the fight, it looks like a lot of people put some money on what's his name, Max. It looks like the hell. I mean, he was a favorite, a heavy favorite. So immediately, people thought this, right? Because Everybody knows that there's already an investigation going on, a possible fixed fights, hundreds of fixed fights supposedly with the UFC. So when this sort of stuff happens, it's not a stretch to believe that something like that was up. So let me go ahead and bring in my co-host Andrew into this topic here. I know it's slightly not boxing, but it's Zuffa, it's UFC, so we're going to throw that in there, of course. Andrew, you watched the fight last night. What were your reactions when the fight ended and you saw the fashion in which the fight ended?
I don't have a lot to say about the fight.
Well, there wasn't really no fight, really.
Exactly, and I'm more interested in the post fight because they talked about boxing mostly at the end there. There was a lot of boxing going on. Look, McGregor, I didn't think he was hurt before the fight, right? I don't think anyone did. You throw a kick at 37, you land wrong, it happens. He's had numerous leg injuries. It's going to be his third one. He had a toe, an ankle, and now a knee, something like that. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, he's had some. The major one being that break, but he's had some stuff before. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't until this morning, right? Now we're seeing the video of him walking in. He's off balance. He's off balance. Then he does it again at the weigh-ins. They have a video of him at the weigh-ins. Now there's a video of him entering some pain facility on the week of the fight. Now there's a tweet coming out saying that he canceled his after party on fight week. Yeah, they say
that I did see before the fight. I did hear about that. So people got suspicious when that happened. Yeah.
Well, it all makes sense, right? Too
many coincidences.
This is all coincidence. Yes, highly unlikely. The kicks before the fight and the pre-warm-up seemed off. I think the guys hit it right. You see the videos of the guy going, this just wasn't Conor. 37 or not, his aura was off coming into the ring. You're talking about the kingpin of the MMA world coming back, and that's how you walk into the ring? Where it was if McGregor was at max peak, it'd have been a different show I think he puts on last night. So, shit happens. One thing I'll say, Miguel, is the MMA world is getting a reality check on how pure they thought their sport was and how, this is a real fight and this is what happens kind of deal. There, unfortunately, are 100 flagged fights that might have been fixed by the fighters, by the UFC. And look, you guys, sometimes a fixed fight is he got hurt. Fuck. We're making 10 million. Fuck. And I'm sorry, I'm cussing. I'll try not to cuss. It's too early in the show. But darn it. Yeah, darn it. We're not giving this money back. The great example that boxing for a long time thought happened was the Julio Cesar Chavez Oscar De La Hoya fight. And both fights are very similar. Oscar De La Hoya versus Julio Cesar Chavez was major success. They said that fight generated so many fans that there was casinos that filled the capacity of the gambling floor, and there was actually waiting lines outside. People that had a room could get in because they were under the number of the capacity, right? So it's like the casino knows how many guests they have there. Then the rest is guys that are doing walk-ins from the street, right? But as long as you had a room card, you were getting in. Everyone else was waiting outside. But that's how major this fight was. Chavez is the underdog. McGregor is the underdog, right? Both of them are in their 30s. Both of them, they're seeing their last paydays here. This is one of their last major fights. A lot of people said Chavez had that cut before the fight. Remember that? There was one reporter saying he had cover up. He seen him putting cover up in a locker room. Another report said Julio
like makeup? Like makeup or what?
Yeah, he had to put cover up literally, to cover up the stitch. And probably not a stitch, but it's some kind of
something redness or whatever they had.
Of the cut. There was another report that it was Chavez Jr., just fucking his dad's life up from the very beginning, just a cursed child from. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. an accident that came out of nowhere, and he didn't really want him. No.
He's like that bad child on the horror movies. They all,
Yeah, exactly. He's a problem child for the movie. Yeah, he's the Omen, basically.
but they said, I guess Chavez went down to hug him. He runs into his eye and cuts it. The point is, Miguel, you know what Bob Arum told him? Yeah, he's stopping this money. Oh, remember, that fight was closed circuit. You could not watch that fight on pay-per-view. I had to go to the San Jose, the ice hockey arena, the Sharks arena, dude. My grandpa took me to the Sharks arena to see that fight.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
SAP something, right? I think that's what it is now. I don't know what it's called back then. Yeah.
Shark Tank, but whatever. It was the Sharks arena. You guys, anyone in the Bay Area knows hockey team. So we went there to watch it. Closed circuit only, no pay-per-view. That's how big that fight was. So Bob Arum told, rumor is Bob Arum told Chavez, you will never get this rematch if you pull out of this fight. So he fought. And, Conor McGregor sells out in 30 seconds. Largest gate in UFC history at 26 million. It's 40 million views. I guess Dana loves doing views. You see how Dana he's a great salesman. But you see how his views have sort of shifted to the internet. He's like, yeah, just look at my YouTube videos. Like, wait a minute.
I wonder what it's going to be afterwards. Like the Paramount people, whatever the viewership, for that. I mean, I wonder what that's going to end up being.
Yeah, no, I would love for Paramount to get behind their numbers. If Paramount is the king of the MMA world, they should really start pressing those numbers. You know what I mean? Let's get out there and show it, not just have, Dana White do it. I just think nothing to be embarrassed about if you're pulling 34 million views on these shows, So let's hope they get behind it. Where was I going with that, Miguel?
Dana White, a good salesman.
He's transitioned the views over to the internet, his internet things now. But yeah, we will see. That's why they had to keep it going, man. They had to keep the show going. If he was injured, which doesn't look good right now for Conor, I gotta say that, it doesn't look like he was 100% with his fans. I lay off boxing with the whole your sport is fixed and can we get a little slack, cut us a break on that bullshit nowadays, now that we've seen the UFC is kind of trending in the same way where, Miguel, sometimes the ball just has to keep rolling, dude. That's a very famous term in boxing. The MMA fan should be understanding that term this morning. When you want a sport to thrive, when you want, max
for the greater good. Yeah.
For the greater good, yes. Somehow we seem to find ourselves are in the exact same spot in both sports. So I ain't mad at Conor. It sucks that they couldn't play it off a little bit better, that he did have his little stumbles outside. Even if like I said, even if it was an accident, you're saying it was not even the right leg. It just sucks that this is all falling into play that way. You know what I mean? Maybe he's going to tell us, I dropped the damn after party because I'm more religious now. We've seen that he transitioned over into full Christian now. I didn't want to go drinking. I didn't want to be a party. That's just a coincidence that happened when it was an honest decision that he made. You know what I mean? So who knows? Sure. But it is the end of his career. These are way too many injuries, bad performances. He's got one fight left on the UFC. They should have that as a goodbye fight, probably overseas, even though Vegas might not allow it because it was so successful, what they did last night in Las Vegas. He should have a goodbye fight to him in the UFC and move on. Now, with that, move on. I wouldn't do an MMA with I don't know, man. I don't know. Just one more. I'm going to just go with his one fight and then move it on.
That makes sense. You're talking about a reality check to a lot of MMA fans with the purity of the sport. This, I would say, to the newer MMA fans, because for those who have been with the UFC since the beginning, I mean, I was damn near 9 when this shit fucking happened right in the US. So I've been a fan for a long ass time. Fight fixing has been a shit since even back then, yo. You watch them. If you guys haven't watched the old fights, go back and watch them. UFC 6 in particular. I remember seeing at least 2 fixed fights there because two guys had same manager. Like, yo, it happened all the time. Mark Coleman, the first UFC heavyweight champion, goes to Japan, gets offered a fuck ton of money to throw a fight against the guy who started Pride. It's like, yo, they ask him hella times, and he's like, I had to do what I had to do for my family. I'll leave it at that. So that's obvious, right? So this has been going on for ages. You know what I'm saying? So really, that's been one of the things that has been a part of professional prize fighting for as long as it's been around. So really, I think the newer fans need to get that reality check, because the older fans like myself, we know that shit has been happening for the longest fucking time, and never once did I believe. And I did see it as not as bad. I would see some of the decisions that happen in MMA, and I'm like, okay, it's not as egregious as boxing. Sometimes you hear a decision, and you're like, what the fuck, right? It's just kind of stuff like that. So never did I ever really legitimately believe that MMA was any more pure, but I just figured it's not big yet at the time, and there wasn't enough money in it to fix it yet. Even though there were, every round, every so often there were fixed fights still. But my point is that a lot of the newer fans need to get that reality check. Go ahead.
I would tell you that was basically the argument of every MMA guy that I ever went up against about the two sports. Was boxing is just this fixed sport. Yeah, I can't do it anymore because no one's going to fight each other and the decisions are all whack and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, you got guys over here. Now we have 100 fixed fights on your side. And right. The biggest fight you ever had was possibly fixed through injury. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying they went out there planning this.
Yeah, it wasn't premeditated. It wasn't deliberate.
It was not premeditated.
It happened, and they're like, no, we got to go with it. We got to keep going.
That's absolutely right. Yep. Could have been the last week, fight during fight week. He could have been jogging, fucking stepped on a fucking banana peel out in you know what I mean? Anything could have happened and made that knee go out, man. He's 37. Miguel, we wake up with hurt, aching bodies. You know what I'm saying? Right. Could you imagine the punishment that these guys put their bodies through at this age, trying to perform at that level, train at that level like they once did in their 20s? Yeah. So not surprised. So yeah, what I was surprised on was the boxers, all the boxers being there again, bro.
We'll get to that. What's going
on, Miguel?
We'll get to that. The takeover's happening, Andrew. No, I'm just kidding. But according to Teddy Atlas, at least he wanted to throw in his 2 cents. He says, well, 2 things to take away here. You don't bet on the guy who's been away for 5 fucking years. I mean, he didn't say fucking, I said just, but anyway, 5 years, and has a bloated facial look. Okay. He was hurt before or after missing kicks, and did he go kamikaze? Like saying, like, did he kind of already have the injury? So said, fuck it, I'm just going to go balls to the wall. And if my leg holds up, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's what he meant to say. He says, one thing for sure, people are mad. Yeah, understandably so. People are pissed. The amount of tickets that this thing sold, how expensive they were. Somebody posted, it said, would you pay $1,000 for this ticket? And it was like an image of where his seat was. Now, I don't know if he was saying that how much his ticket was. We assume, we just kind of connect the dots, even though he didn't explicitly say it. But that same seat, or a similar one at least, I paid $500 for a John Jones fight. That in itself was already fucking expensive as shit. I hope he didn't pay $1,000 for that seat, because it was way the fuck up there.
Yeah, what I would say about that, and I know I might, not going to have all the fans in the world agree with me on this one. I did not like Holloway's response to the injury. Miguel, these guys are supposed to be warriors. The sport is called tap out. It's not called mercy. The man that he was given mercy to was making $30 million, taking a lot of money. For everyone in those stands that paid that money, they paid to see 2 men fight until one taps out, right? Is that the name of this game? Do I have it mistaken, right?
Nope, you're right on.
I would also tell Holloway, if McGregor was to beat him, that would not have been the first time an athlete won a sporting event with a torn ACL, a torn MCL, a freaking blown shoulder, a torn elbow. Guys have, I mean, you'd be kind of amazed of what these guys have put their bodies through to get these victories. So why would you take even attempt? Because I know he ultimately didn't. He lets him get up. McGregor makes the face, and they stop the fight. But it was the fact that he was trying to get out of the fight. Oh, ref, what's going on here? What the fuck, dude? You fucking take this guy out. We're not saying kill him, but, and listen, that doesn't mean to play to his advantage. Oh, I wouldn't have. I would have kicked him while he was on the ground. You know what I'm saying? After I would have explained to McGregor, there is no bad blood between us. We are warriors. I was taking you out on your shield. That's what I was doing. You were gonna fight until there's no fight left in you. I knew that, and that's how the fight should end. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, listen, you guys. If it's a 4-round beatdown and McGregor looks like fucking Iporie, or what the fuck was that dude's name?
Topuria.
Topuria. If he looks like Topuria, no, white flag it, dude. We've taken enough punishment. We're talking 60 minutes into the fight. He's over here.
60 seconds.
Huh?
60 seconds.
Yeah, 60 seconds. Excuse me. Hey, ref, come on, man. What's going on here? Like, nah, dude. A little early to be getting the mercy call. Go handle your business. So that's all I would say about that. If I'm UFC, because of everything that you explained about ticket sales and what's the word?
Prices, ticket prices.
Yeah, and what we thought was going to happen, you got to make that happen. You know what I mean? We're not looking for easy way outs. Don't ever fucking look at the referee to stop a fight again. That's not your job. Your job is to fight that man until...
Yeah, his tabs. And interestingly enough, it seems as though Conor McGregor himself has that same sentiment, because when even Max Holloway said it, he was like, he fell and he was telling me, like, dude, fight. And he's like, no, you're fucking hurt. And he's like, I'm not trying to, hit a wounded animal. And fucking Conor's like, motherfucker, let's fight, right? So he's like, oh shit. So that's why he stands up. But yeah, oddly enough, Conor basically agrees with you. It's like, yo, and to some degree, it's almost an extra level of respect. It's like, don't take it easy on me, homie. If you can't take me out, fucking take me out. I won't take it easy on you. We're two guys in here. It's war. It's either you or me, homie. And if I'm hurt, you best believe. No, if you were hurt, you best believe I'm gonna go in there and fucking finish it, because that's just what we're in here for. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost letting them off the hook.
It's a warrior's ending. Ending.
Mm-hmm. And Sean Strickland decided to throw in his 2 cents on X. I always call it Twitter, but X, right? He says, I'm not saying it is, but every homie I have that has done steroids for too long, their body becomes fragile. I'm not saying that's why, but it does weaken everything. So obviously he's going to throw in, stir the pot, saying like, I'm not saying it, but I kind of am saying it. Like, you might as well fucking be saying it at this point, right? It's like, if you're going to throw it in there, you're already planting the seed of doubt in people's mind. He goes on to say, no, he wouldn't have said that kick. He wouldn't have sent a kick like that if he was hurt. I know from experience. That's all I'm saying. If you're injured, you're protecting your injury to make it through the fight. So he's trying to say maybe he did have an injury and took some stuff to kind of help him through the training camp, and then ultimately, it failed his body from maybe so many years of doing this. So maybe he's trying to say it in a way that he's not doing it necessarily with the intent to get an advantage, but rather his body's just breaking down and he needed the stuff. I don't know. And that's what he's trying to say. But he's already throwing in the doubt in there.
Our one Lee Honish behind you used to tell us all the time that almost after every major injury, these guys got to cycle to get the healing process up to speed, right? Or above speed. He's had 3 probably significant breaks in his career. So most likely he was cycling, and Sean Strickland knows that, and that's why we're here where we're at 37. So yes, that's very much on the board as of what's going on with Conor.
Yeah, and even though it might not have been in this intent to like gain the advantage per se, again, our mentor Lee Honish always said, everybody's on the juice, only the dumb ones get caught, basically is what he said. So it's like, it's just kind of the way it is, right? So maybe he did it in a way to not get caught, but ultimately that did him in. We'll wait to see what exactly the viewership was for Paramount, because everybody was tuning in, I'm sure. I tuned in. I tuned in a little bit later because there was some soccer games going on, right? The World Cup games, which unfortunately didn't go my way. The co-main event, just to throw that one in there, Paddy Pimblett, who's English. Well, UK. I would say UK. I need to be more specific. England. England beat. Who was it? Norway, right? I think they beat Norway. So they're on to advancing. Just throw in some World Cup news there. So I'm sure people who were in the crowd at the T-Mobile Arena who are English were loving that shit, having him win. And ironically, his opponent was French, so it just kind of made things a little bit more global. But anyway, we'll see what the attendance, like, I guess not the attendance, but they said it was full house, right? The viewership, I should say, for Paramount is. And we'll see how much of a success it is. One of the major questions coming out of this,
the attendance was 20,076. You like that? Got you, buddy.
Taking notes. I like it. All right, that's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, warms my heart when you get in the MMA space, Andrew. The major question coming out of this, and this is what everybody's been asking, because ultimately the fight was a major disappointment, is it worth doing it again? At this point, if you really want to be technical, it's 1-1, because the first time they fought, Conor won. This time, Max won, but under these weird circumstances. Is it worth going a third time around? You think the fans will be there again, Andrew, that they'll like show up the same way to be like, all right, because from what I understand, Conor was actually supposed to fight somebody else. He was supposed to fight this guy, Carlos Prates, I can't pronounce the last name, Brazilian dude, fucking killer guy, only has one loss. But seriously, like, if he would have gone in here, I doubt. I mean, who knows if the fight would have ended the same way. My point is, this dude is a bad motherfucker. So anyway, there wasn't supposed to have been Max, but is it worth doing this again? Are we going through all this shit again? Because, we were all waiting the anticipation of him making the return. It seems at least a commercial success, because people tune in, people buy tickets, but the fight didn't deliver for these reasons here. Is it worth trying it again? Should Conor just call it a career and call it a day?
For the UFC, they gotta look, does the risk fit the reward? And in gambling, which we know Dana White is, you like to get out while you're ahead. With the success that this event had, they still had to pay Conor $30 million. They're saying $30 million he made last night. You might not have that same success on his last fight in the UFC. I would probably see them taking his last fight as the goodbye fight to the UFC. I don't think they renew the contract. At some point, you're going to hit the red with him, and I don't think the UFC is into that. They've been very good at being able to stay away from carrying fighters too long, right? So when you look at the body of work of Conor McGregor in the last 5 years, it's not great. He's had defeats, he's had injuries, he's been inactive. There's nothing there to say, you know what, 3 more fights, 70 million guaranteed.
Right.
There's nothing there. And I don't think Conor signs for anything less, because unfortunately, as much as MMA fans don't want to hear it, he's one phone call away from making probably 100 million with Jake Paul, right? I still see that fight selling as soon as it gets made. So he has that in his back pocket. So I don't see him signing with the UFC in a renewed contract after this last fight. So if I'm the UFC, I'm trying to get him at the lowest cost, put him in a fight that's winnable, put it in the biggest arena you can to maximize the ticket sales, and that'll be the end of Conor McGregor. And you guys, there's no guarantee he wins that fight, because the dude's losing to injuries right now. He's losing to his body breaking down. He's not losing to his opponents. You know what I mean? So there's no guarantee he even wins the last fight. So I try to make it a goodbye night for Conor.
All right. Funny that you mentioned Jake Paul, because he initially went to social media and put like a whole bunch of laughing faces, basically, in reaction to this, right? Then I guess maybe cooler heads prevailed and somebody got into his head, or maybe his conscience got the better of him, and he sent out another one kind of to cover that one, right? I mean, his initial reaction was joking, laughing at Conor and his misfortune, but He goes in again, back to Twitter. He goes, bullshit aside, prayers for you and your family. God does not like ugly, but God always forgives, whatever the fuck that means. Forgiveness is unconditional and limitless, provided through faith and sincere repentance. So he wanted to go and cover his tracks, right? I mean, obviously, it sounded very crude and really in poor taste to laugh at him. And realistically, a lot of people are doing that to him anyway. It was almost like a what we're seeing right now with Floyd Mayweather and his financial troubles. I mean, he kind of, if he's going to be that way, laugh at him. You know what I'm saying? If he's going to be this Conor notorious doing that shit, then when stuff like this happens, people are going to be laughing at him and making fun of him for it. But Jake Paul did come out and kind of restore that and wanted to make clear the air and make sure that people know that he didn't have any ill will towards him, and said this. I don't really see Jake Paul being a religious guy, so when he throws this in there, like God does not like ugly, forgiveness is unconditional, limitless. Is it being phony here, Andrew? Like, I guess he's just being politically correct, or because he never comes across really as a religious dude, does he?
That is the American Christian. It seems a good majority of them in the sports world, in the entertainment world. You can't play both sides of the fence, though a lot of us
Ryan
do.
Garcia. Right.
A lot of American Christians do. I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for the Americans. I'm hoping when the shit does hit the fan, Miguel, that people will know where their loyalty lies with, and that their actions will speak louder at that moment, right? They'll be judged at that moment. Did you fall for the trick, or did you stay with Jesus? So hopefully there's an out like that. I might be playing it to the very end. He's like, "What are you talking about, dude? You just get judged, dumbass." I'm like, "Damn." Yeah. So there's no big ass war that I can just join. No, but the book says there will. But hear me out, you guys. That is what Conor, for the ones that do believe that Conor has transitioned into a Christian, this kind of fits their guidelines of being stripped of everything. Jesus, if you would say, because he was being real strong with the Jesus, has taken over my life. I'm following him. I die for him, all that. And it sounded great. But now you got stripped. Now you're back to zero. Are you going to have those same feelings this morning? And I love Conor's response is, I'm going to church, right? Maybe, I don't know if you've seen that, but he said that this morning. That's a great response. Because we don't blame him for anything.
Sure.
We give him all the glory, and we don't blame him for anything. It's all a test, and our faith stays with him at all times, right? So that's what Conor's going to show now. And he has a why in his life. He either tries to make his comeback in the MMA, or maybe he just walks the right path and walks off into the sunset. Because like you just said, I don't know if you can be a faithful Christian and live the notorious life, or even attempt to act like it. If you guys seen, he was still kind of cussing when the cameras were on him. He told some chick, that one girl, I think, that flirts with everyone. He was like, walk with your balls. Did you see that? Like, you can't talk like that, Conor. I know I'm nitpicking now. You know what I mean? I know, but you just can't talk like that.
Right.
But that whole attitude needs to change. And if that's what the notorious needs to be successful in the octagon, then maybe it's time to walk, because you're not supposed to be that guy anymore. So that's where he's at now. But yeah, I would say he's definitely got his first test. He's right in the middle of it right now. We'll see how he responds. I like his first answer though, is that hopefully he did go to church. That's very cool. He probably had a very nice feeling when he entered the building, because that means that Jesus looks at Satan and goes, "Ha, score for me. That's one on the board." Right.
And what's crazy? I was watching. There's I mean, I don't know if it happens in boxing, but in wrestling, when your wrestling career is over, there's this, that's not a ceremony, but I guess a procedure. I don't know what you would call it, but basically the wrestlers take their shoes off and they leave them in the middle of the mat, of the wrestling mat. So it happens a lot in MMA. When the fighter
Yep.
retires, he takes off his gloves and puts them in the middle of the ring. If you look at Conor in the corner after the fight, he's so distraught that he's just like, and he's trying to take off the fucking tape. Like, oh shit! When I saw that, the camera moves away for some other shit. They go back to Max, and I was like, no, 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 put it back. Like, is this dude is so in right now fucked up that he's like, fuck this, I'm done. Taking off. Ultimately, it didn't happen. If you watch some clips later on, he's like basically walking to like the ambulance or whatever, still in his gear, just basically limping along, right, and going straight to the fucking the hospital. So when I saw that, I was like, "Oh hell no!" He's just gonna, it's a feeling at that moment of desperation, and you're just like so distraught that you're like, I'm done, I'm done." I don't know if somebody talked him out of it, or maybe he came to his senses, like, "Okay, never mind. Let me. My emotions are getting the best of me right now. Let me go ahead and think this over before I make some sort of permanent decision." He goes on to Twitter himself afterwards, and this is how we're going to basically end this topic here. He goes, "My head gasket is gone." Yeah, he's pissed. Destroyed. I had no injury or injuries going into the fight. Are you sure about that? Yeah, that's there's for throw in that fucking the that Giphy is like. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? He says I was throwing kicks, planted and jumping all throughout camp as well as backstage before the fight. This came out of nowhere. I'm dark. I'm beyond dark here. I can only describe it as hell. So, yeah, in a dark place, I'm sure. But as you mentioned, he did go to church, or according to him, went to church today. So I'm sure that alleviated some of that, on his shoulders, the distraught that he was feeling throughout that. So, hopefully he comes back from this healthy. I mean, period. Maybe not necessarily to the cage. He does have one more fight left with the UFC. Maybe that's his send off, and then that's it. No more, because truthfully, I don't think he needs the money. He doesn't seem to have the same type of spending habits or spending issues. He spends a lot. I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's because he has a lot of money. At the same as Floyd, probably not as bad, the spending habits. So I doubt that he needed the money necessarily, but this is more so just having to fulfill the obligation of that contract of two more fights, this one being one, and the second one if it happens. But hopefully we see him back healthy, but rather not he makes it back to the octagon, especially for a third fight. I guess we'll have to wait and see. All right. Anything else you want to add to that before we move on to the next topic?
Nope, that is it.
All right. That concludes our our UFC coverage. No. All right, excuse me. This next one, holy hell. If you think this first topic took up a lot of the show, shit, man. This next one is going to be something else because it definitely involves boxing. Shakur Stevenson has decided, and I mean, I guess has been decided officially, I should say, officially signed with Zuffa motherfucking boxing. Right off the bat, it's funny that it finally happened to some degree because we have been hearing that it's going to happen. It's imminent. It's like right there. And for whatever reason, and it hasn't been officially announced, Andrew has gone on record many times and said this is the longest damn fighter signing ever, that they took such a long time to actually make it official. But it is now officially official as of earlier this week. Shakur Stevenson has signed with Zuffa Boxing. No more than in a few hours after the official announcement, critics came out of everywhere talking about him bailing on other fighters, basically ducking. Now that DAZN has moved, or I'm sorry, not DAZN, PBC has moved to DAZN, there's a higher likelihood that we get to see a lot of the best, more of the best fighting the best, because they're under one network, one streaming service, DAZN. And he does the complete opposite and goes to Zuffa Boxing, who is exclusive to Paramount. So now we kind of find ourselves sort of back in square one, the way we were back in the day with Showtime and HBO. Sometimes fighters who have exclusive deals with them are not allowed or cannot, legally fight on the other network. And I believe the two times that I remember it happening, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Tyson Lewis, if my memory serves me right, but those were big money fights. I don't know if we're in the same era of big money fights. I mean, we're seeing it with the kind of overpaying that Turkey is doing for these guys. So before we get into the many side topics of this big one here, Andrew, let me get your reaction. What did you think when you read that Shakur Stevenson signed with Zuffa Boxing?
We won't know what to think until next year. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, what the hell? It's like, we'll
No.
do a show next year, and I'll tell you. No.
No, look, we don't know if it'll work or not yet, right? I'm under the understanding, Miguel, that this will not be for the Zuffa title, this signing.
Sure.
The money does not match
No.
that level
Not
of
at all.
boxing. Not at all, right? So there's no way that this. So at some point, Dana, he said again last night, when have I ever lied? At some point, he needs to find a way how to twist up Zuffa Promotions to, there's this Zuffa that we're doing, which is cool. We're trying to build. Maybe he should start saying we're trying to build the next champ. Maybe he should come out and say his dream was always to build a fighter from nothing, get him to be able to win a world title, right? We got to find a way how to combine the two, because the two are definitely combined now. He literally went on record and said, we paid this guy a shit ton of money. He said as in Zuffa, TKO, Sella, and Turkey all came together to make this signing. Connect them then. We're good. Connect them. You're now a boxing promoter. You're now buying fighters at $16 million per fight. Great. You didn't change boxing at all. You gave us more money. Thank you. I'm not here to tell you you're doing a bad thing when you're paying guys so much money. Do not go and tell me how I told you I was going to take over boxing. You didn't take over shit. You invested your company's money into our sport. That's all you did. You didn't take over anything, though. You haven't changed a fucking thing. The kid's still going to wear the same gold chains that he was wearing with all the other promotional companies. Conor Ben is still going to be driving the Lamborghini that he has. You see his Lamborghini? Did you see the post?
No, I didn't see it.
He had a new one, and I was like, how's he? I was thinking at first, well, you're not going to have that in the near future. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute. They are saying he's making, $15 million again, I guess, for the Garcia fight. So no, he is going to have Lamborghinis. You didn't change anything, right? So at some point, let's find a way to twist those two together. Maybe that's what Turkey needs to talk to Dana about. How are we going to combine our two companies instead of you just going out there and not saying he lost, because he didn't lose shit. He's still in the sport, but we got to get over this whole you're taking over and you're changing. The Ali Act, I don't know. Has anyone heard of that lately?
No,
Maybe.
It seems to have hit a wall or something, because nothing's changed. I mean, basically, they're just playing under the current rules.
Under the current rules, and it looks like it's going to stay that way because the money's not going to change for these fighters. So now when I look at it like that, that's great. That was great. They've given another boxer millions of dollars. Cool. Let's move on. How does it work? Right? We've seen Berlanga and Hitchens' first opponents they wouldn't live up to the price tag that Conor Ben. You guys see they're making Conor Ben fight in his second fight under them, right? Or trying to make fight. Shakur might get one freebie just to bring him out, put on a show, but then what's his next fight? He's going to probably have to fight someone legit. We will see who they're going to get to match that and what promotional company is now going to merge with them. We have to go back to that argument now, because now it seems like, because look, it does seem like Oscar De La Hoya and DAZN sent that cease and desist letter. DAZN's attached to that. They're the ones that are kind of upset that Ryan's not fighting or doesn't have anything. Ryan's not fighting on DAZN. Could it have been that Oscar fucking did this? They had to have known. I don't know how this got twisted, Miguel, because you would think Turkey has stake in both companies, that both companies be well aware of the fucking the plan, right? But somewhere he got lost, and DAZN and Oscar are getting left out, and they don't want no part of that. So the fact that DAZN is starting to step into this and push back on Turkey is not good news for Zuffa, because where does that end? What if DAZN goes, you know what, fuck it, we're not doing this. We're not losing our ass just so he can make Zuffa and Paramount and those guys more money, because that's their loyalty is to Paramount at the end of the day. So who knows, dude? DAZN has everybody right now. Shakur's like, and that's all hot air, all that. Oh yeah, any fight can get made. We heard that with the PBC guys. Don't stop it. And then it was always TV contract bullshit that kept you out, and then you're the A side, B side, wrong side of the fucking street. All that stuff comes out. So we've heard this before by fighters that sign with companies going, oh, anything can get made. We will see if it happens.
But are we back to that then? Because that's kind of what it looks like. No, I mean, that's sort of with Paramount, at least, and DAZN. It's like we're battling networks again.
As of right now, we're back to that with Shakur, Conor Ben, possibly, because I got something. Okay. Conor Ben, with all the guys that signed with them, which is not that many.
They have Hitchens, like Berlanga.
Yeah, they have like 5 guys that maybe can still move the needle. The rest is right? So the ones that they can move the needle, yeah, they might be on the wrong side of the street. The sad thing about them is none of them are that close to each other, except there was 3 guys on that stage, right? They all can fight each other. Mm-hmm. You take away one, that leaves Shakur versus Conor, which I don't see as a bad fight for Zuffa opening up their promotion, right? So is Ryan going to play himself out of a fight by doing all these fake fucking announcements? He can't get his team together. DAZN can't get their shit together. Do they drop Ryan Garcia and announce Shakur versus Conor and keep all the money? That is there. That's about the only fight they have so far that'll make and move the needle. Because I'm sorry, Shakur versus Hitchens ain't doing shit. If you have to pay Shakur $15 million or $12 million guaranteed, Hitchens is not the guy you want. Mm-hmm. Conor, possibly. That's across the pond money. You might be able to do something there. So we don't know if it's the wrong side of the street happening all over again, but they're not that powerful. Now, granted, Miguel, I don't know if Ryan's going to come out next week and be like, after this one fight, I'm signed to Zuffa. All the guys that were rumored, I don't know if they're going to just start dropping like flies over there to Zuffa, and then it'll be like, oh, well, there's their roster. Their roster's starting to fill up. Because, I mean, they have Conor, Shakur, Hitchens. You get Ryan Garcia in that roster, you're getting pretty good on your welterweight division, right? So time will tell, like Dana told us.
Right. So I guess we do have to wait till 2027. Fuck. Not exactly what we wanted to hear in early 2026, and not what they told us, I should say, to begin with. But immediately people started throwing out the names of who they wanted to see Shakur fight and who had actually legitimate potential of fighting him. One of the names that was thrown out was Jose Valenzuela. He himself came out and said, yo, shit, you're with Zuffa now. Let's do it, right? He's a lightweight. Whether or not Shakur is going to go back to 135, now that he's with Zuffa, I don't know, because technically, I mean, I guess I should just throw that out the window at this point, because it's there's no point. They said there was no super middleweight division. Yeah, Berlanga's fighting as a middleweight. They said there was no 140, and that's why Hitchens moved up to 147. So maybe they'll do a 140 for Shakur. I don't fucking know at this point. Or maybe they do force him to go back down to 135. I don't know. But according to Chris Mannix, it's not going to be Rayo Valenzuela. Shakur, this is what Chris Mannix put on his X. He posted on X. Shakur told people this weekend he believes, doesn't mean much shit, but he believes he will fight Devin Haney next. He also made it clear in an interview with Sports Illustrated that he will not fight Rayo Valenzuela next. Purse bids for Haney Keyshawn looms in 2 weeks. So that's kind of the first part of this equation here, because Devin Haney is currently the WBO welterweight champion, and the number one contender, or mandatory, whatever you want to call it, is Keyshawn Davis. Well, the WBO gave them some time ago already 20 days to come to some sort of agreement for a title defense. Well, it seems as though they haven't been able to get anything. That's why, or come to an agreement. That's why Chris Mannix here is saying, hey, a purse bid is looming because it looks like they haven't been able to get to it. Well, let's go ahead and throw in another fucking curveball. This is from Elite or Real. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but this is on also Twitter or X. personal sources, whoever the hell these personal sources are, have disclosed that allegedly, oh, here we go, Devin Haney will reportedly vacate the WBO title in order to face Shakur Stevenson at a catch weight of 144 pounds. The T-Mobile Arena is anticipated to host this bout and expected to take place in September or November, or between September and November, I should say, because I had a dash. More sources have stated the winner of this fight is rumored to fight Gervonta Davis in 2027. All right, let's unpack all that shit in there. Cool. So it looks like there's going to be some sort of purse bid coming up for Devin Haney and his WBO belt to defend it against Keyshawn Davis. But it seems like it's going to be for nothing because according to this and the sources, it looks like he's going to give up that WBO belt anyway, essentially handing the belt over to Keyshawn Davis to fight Shakur Stevenson at 144. All right. Now, this is some bullshit. I got to be honest. I'm not a big fan of these catchweight fights. Shakur himself has said, yo, Canelo and Floyd did it. Guys, you know, we can definitely make it happen. With all due respect, Shakur, you're not Canelo. You're not Floyd. Neither is Devin Haney. So we don't have to be making this like a fights. If you want to make it, so be it. It's out of greed. I get it. But whatever. Go ahead and make it happen. Andrew, does it seem likely that we're going to get Shakur and Devin in his first fight with Zuffa in September, or whatever the hell it is, at 144?
Is it likely to be the very next fight? I'm going to lean on no. That hasn't been the Zuffa way so far, right? Opatai got to fight someone who wasn't even ranked top 10. Conor got to fight someone who wasn't ranked top 10, right? So that hasn't been their way so far. Now, and Conor was making serious money. So who knows? I would lean towards no, but is Devin one of the guys that are going to be coming up as a signing to Zuffa here in the next week? Remember his dad put out that post, $100 million by the time I'm 20, by the time my son's 27, who else is doing that? Team Haney, Zuffa. Remember that post where he kind of acted as if they were already signed? Well, this could be a possible signing that they've been waiting on for whatever reasons, and now it's going to be finalized here. And so then that makes it real. With that being said, $100 million, they're looking at like 20 million guaranteed for every fight, because you got to think it's a 5-fight deal. You have to start. Also, people need to start finding out what these deals are. The Conor McGregor one, Conor Ben one, Shakur Stevenson. These are very important to know how many fights. Did he sign a 1-fight deal? Is it a 3-fight deal? Because demanding a 144 catch weight, what are you to demand if you have 5 fights that you have to do with this company? They're going to pick the division. You're going to fight in it, right? There is no catch weights. They either want, like Miguel said, a lightweight or a welterweight. There is no in between. So I don't understand why they would come out and even start granting these guys catch weights if they're trying to build divisions with their own established guys to fight for titles and stuff. Why wouldn't you just make him pick a division and go to it? Don't like the 144 catch weight, but I think it's very much on the table because they're both getting overpaid and they would do what Turkey says. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way that it's on contract. You're doing what this guy says now. You know what I mean? So if he wants to fight and he's saying 144 is okay for him, then they're fighting at 144.
Yeah. There was, as I was saying, there was a lot of critics that just came out of nowhere talking mad smack because of it, right? Let me go ahead and throw in one here. I see him pretty regularly. I think I follow him on Twitter. Javier Orozco, or Xavier, if you want to call it, because it does start with an X. He proceeds to say this: Shakur Stevenson is boasting that his new Zuffa contract grants him total freedom to choose his opponents. But the reality of the current boxing landscape is much more complicated. Since Zuffa boxing lacks a deep roster of internal contenders, cross-promotion is inevitable, sort of like we're seeing. I'm just throwing this here, sort of like we're seeing with Conor and Ryan Garcia, because Garcia is still with Oscar, so sort of like that. True hurdles will be whether rival promoters are willing to cooperate and whether the network executives at Paramount and DAZN can successfully iron out the broadcasting rights. Well, if you ask Oscar, he's very willing to have the fight happen as long as he's involved, of course. But he said it before, hey, the press conferences leading up to the fight might be more exciting than the fucking fight because me and Dana in the same room are going to be bickering at one another and it's going to be content-worthy shit. Okay, so it seems like he's willing to do it. Everybody else, I don't know yet. He goes on to say, he also said, referring to Shakur, that signing with Zuffa will make him boxing's #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Well, when the 60% owner, meaning Turkey, of Zuffa owns the Ring magazine, which he does, that isn't too hard to accomplish. So this touches on what we said earlier. We're kind of back to square one with the opposite networks, whether or not that they can iron out these deals. Before I go on to the second critic, anything you want to throw in on what Javier said on this one, Andrew?
No, what I wanted is talk about, I was going to talk about the demand. Look, the fight's a good fight, all right, for us diehards. The problem that Zuffa is going to run into, and I'm talking about Devin and Shakur signing both with Zuffa to make this thing happen, without another person involved that's investing money, that means Turkey's going to be putting up possibly around 30 million guaranteed money to get these two in the ring, right? Do they have an American fan base that is going to profit off of this fight? You're talking about ticket sale. I don't think so, right? The ticket sales, what are you going to need to put up? 12 grand for ringside when you're paying 30 million for the main event? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to look at where all the ticket prices are right now for Conor McGregor's ticket prices last night, Floyd Mayweather's ticket prices. That's what a $30 million main event is going to ask for. Do these two get that from their fan base?
Not very likely. It is. I don't think.
Not very likely. I think they have a better chance of Conor Ben getting both cross the pond money and American money, possibly generating more money than Devin Haney versus Shakur. So that's the risk that Zuffa's taking on putting these fights together at such high prices on right now. Is I don't know if these fights generate that money back. You might need the likes of a Ryan Garcia. Someone's going to have to beat Ryan to try to get that momentum, to get that fan appeal. Right now, both are sharing from the same pot, and you're trying to double the money.
Yeah. One of the other critics, I guess, is Matchroom's Eddie Hearn. He wanted to throw in his 2 cents here. Let me go ahead and read off another X comment from It's the Fanta. That's the name of the account. Eddie Hearn went off on Shakur signing with Zuffa Boxing and even called him a boring fighter. He's so fucking boring, he says. You could come back to us, meaning Matchroom, when you finish your tantrum. I'm fighting Ryan. I'm fighting Devin. I'm fighting this, that. The fans are confused. What Shakur Stevenson should be doing is getting off of Twitter. All right. There's Eddie's 2 cents on this. Andrew, does this sound a little bitter? Like, does he sound like, fuck, man, he did have Shakur for a while. It wasn't like he didn't have him, right? And maybe he saw something in him that was like, damn, this guy's not bringing me the money. But now he sounds a little bitter. He sounds sour grapes. Am I reading this wrong?
No, I think you're reading it correctly. He does sound a little bitter and calling him boring all of a sudden. Because in all honesty, his last fight was not boring at all. That was a Shakur. If he keeps showing up like that, is going to sell many tickets. It's about the opponents across from him. Are they going to warrant the 20 million price tag? What do you think, Shakur? I'm thinking 10 million. I know I'm just throwing numbers out there, but I don't see Shakur any really higher in the marketing side than 10 million possibly a fight. And that's overpaying them because they're all overpaying, right? Turkey has to overpay to get these guys to even agree to drop a title, give up all of what you built in boxing to start over with this fresh company. So he's overpaying. So I'm thinking at 10 million. I really couldn't see Shakur. He's had trouble creating excitement in his fights. You know what I mean? Like Lopez is one fight, and from my memory, that pay-per-view didn't do that great. So it's not like a lot of people even witnessed it.
I was going to bring this up, not yet, but it makes sense to bring it up now because it was going to be something that I mentioned later with Shakur himself. But I want to say the true number was between 200 and 300,000 pay-per-view buys with Teofimo Lopez, I believe, even though there was a rumor that it did like 1.2 million, something stupid like that. Later on, it seems as though it was corrected. But I went in doing the research. I was like, how many pay-per-view buys did it do? Yada yada. I pulled up and AI told me that Shakur made 8 million in that fight with Teofimo. So 10 million sounds pretty reasonable, being overpaid, I'm saying that. So they sure as hell did not make the money back on the Teofimo fight. So realistically, chances are it's no less than 8 million, we can say, because that's what he got paid with Teofimo, right? So clearly it had to have been more than that amount, or does it have to be, I should say.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so it really depends on if I think that's why he had to do that peace treaty thing, dude. He really did. He needs the other promoters to be involved. They put up some money. They also have fan bases. I mean, I think I'm comfortable in saying Eddie Hearn has a pretty big fan base. It does seem like Matchroom has some loyal fans. Dana was even talking about it this week, how whenever he's on the other side of the pond, they're always bringing him questions about Eddie Hearn, and when you look at the chat rooms, there's a lot of guys like defend. Let's just say Eddie gets more defense on his chat rooms than any American promoter.
Yeah.
You go to American promoters, they're like, Top Rank's all rigged. Bob's been rigging fighters for years, and Oscar's gay, and you know what I mean? They just always got shit to say about the American side. But Eddie does seem like he's got a loyal fan base with Matchroom. So with that being said, I think they do need the other promoters to be involved. If we're talking big money, see, when we're talking, we're going to rip everyone off like we do in the other sport. Don't say, be mean, but when they control the pay scale that hard, then it's easy to tell everyone else to fuck off, because you can cover everything, and it's fucking $5 million to put on the fight. You know what I'm saying? The whole card. When you're paying 16 million per guy, they're
gonna need some help.
Nobody else wants to try.
So why do you think Eddie went this far to say this? I mean, again, maybe he's kind of bitter, but is this another? When we talk about the imaginary tally, imaginary score, Dana signs Conor Benn, right, and kind of causes a rift between Eddie and Conor, and then Eddie kind of, sort of, with his talent agency, signs their heavyweight champion and Tom Aspinall. So it's like, oh, now we're like signing each other's shit. Did Dana just get another tally with Shakur? Because, I mean, it sounds like Eddie's a little pissed.
He might have, but I think Eddie's doing it more for the business side of boxing than he is doing it for his feelings are getting hurt from Dana signing these guys. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the guys on the inside know it's Turkey that's signing these guys, and Dana is the face that announces it. I think there was way more evidence, and I know we're going to get into it, but I mean, just look at how Dana White's post-fight press conference went yesterday, dude. That was a total shit show, bro. Like, that fool got fact-checked hard from them European guys that wanted to know about Conor Benn and the AJ Fury situation. Hard. Did you watch it?
No, I just saw the clips of him going off on the whole graphic thing, which is the second topic of
but I asked. Yeah, you should have watched it, dude, because they don't give up on finding. They're like, bro, how do you know where the fight's gonna be? But Turkey's telling us he's talking to the mayor, and Dana White's got nothing, dude. He's like, I know where it's gonna be, and he's like, well, Dana, can't we say then you and Turkey aren't even on the same page? Because Turkey doesn't know where it's gonna be.
He's not saying anything. Yeah. I mean, we can't even
And
decide on the
then
fucking time, right? I mean, they're still saying it might be 2 a.m., might be 4 a.m. over there. I don't think we've even decided that part yet. But I mean, based off of that, it looks like it's going to be over there. But where exactly? I don't know.
his response to can we agree that you guys aren't on the same alignment? I think is how he said it. He goes, yes, sir. That was it.
Huh.
When have you ever heard Dana White fucking get, you know what I mean? Just get a yes,
Yeah.
sir out of him. So it was just, dude. Uh, yeah. Go ahead. Whatever you're gonna go. Are you gonna talk about the post-fight press conference? Because there was a lot of gems in it, dude.
Well, I mean, I was gonna throw in this whole Shakur thing with that, but I was the next topic was oh wait, hold on. Is this part of, let me just make sure I'm looking at my notes properly here. Oh yeah, so yeah, it that specifically. One of the other things that seems to have happened with Shakur being ringside. Oh shit, hold on. Did I skip it?
No,
Okay.
you did fine.
All
You
right,
did fine.
because I did want to like bring up. I mean, we kind of sort of talked about it. I kind of have a little bit in different order, but the possible announcement of Ryan and Connor, but we'll get to that shortly. The UFC did this shit again. He goes off. Dana White goes off during the post-fight presser. This is what I did see when the camera was put on Shakur Stevenson, and the graphic pops up of who he's supposed to be. It says Oklahoma City Thunder guard 2025 NBA champion Jalen Williams. Now, I don't follow basketball, so I have no idea who the fuck this guy is, or if he even resembles Shakur Stevenson, or maybe Jalen Williams was actually there and he was the next guy that they panned over to. I don't fucking know. But boy, did Dana White get pissed. Somebody told him that somebody else does this, some other organization. What do you say, like soccer or something like that? Something else. Somebody else told him this, that like no, other people do make these mistakes, and he's like, no, we're the best at making this fucking mistake. It happened again. It did happen also with Terrence Crawford, if you guys recall. Kendrick Lamar is what they named him, or what they had there. That one, I don't even know if Kendrick was in the fucking building. That one seemed a little bit more deliberate. This one might have been an actual accident. Maybe Jalen Williams was actually there and they just had the bad timing. It's not like it hasn't happened before. But it's funny that it happens yet again with another boxer. They sure as hell don't get it wrong with Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or Mel Gibson, or Vince Vaughn that was their ringside, or Theo Vaughn for that matter. They don't get those wrong, but they certainly got this wrong, and Dana White let everybody have it because of how pissed he was. I don't know, Andrew, when you were texting myself and our buddy. One of the things that you sent us, this is a screenshot of like what you were telling your nephews, I think you said, right? Don't get it twisted, as you normally say, right? It looks like these guys are just basically like, I'm talking about the what's his name, Shakur and Crawford getting disrespected on UFC television. Shakur signs with Zuffa, so I mean he kind of has to be there, right? I guess Crawford doesn't really have to, but it's fucked up. You know, you just you paid this motherfucker a whole bunch of money, and they can't get his damn name right. It's like they might as well give him a name tag that says somebody else while he's sitting there. Was this done deliberately? Do you think like somebody in the UFC again pissed off that they're paying these boxers a gazillion amount of money while they're getting fucking pennies? They're like, no, I'm going to show Dana White this shit and fuck it up. You think it was an accident, a legitimate accident, or was it deliberate?
Well, Miguel, when Dana White said that he was pissed off at the production crew and they're the worst at doing this, I was like, wow, I wonder how many times it's happened. So I Googled, how many times has the UFC gotten celebrities wrong ringside? You know what it came up with? 2 times, bro. 2 times.
Were they boxers by chance?
And it happened to be, yeah, the Terrence Crawford and last night Shakur Stevenson things. Look, is it a joke? Possibly. Is it a racist joke? Double possibly.
Oh.
And that's what they want to fucking try to really avoid here, dude. You know, the African American that boxing usually has hanging around is not the African American of the UFC. The UFC needs to really start paying attention to who they're putting their names on before they get labeled as one did Top Rank. Do you remember when Floyd kind of ruined the reputation of Top Rank, and then Terrence Crawford doubled down, kind of used Floyd's same, he's racist, he doesn't care about black fighters? You have a company right now, Miguel, that is acting as if they don't know the difference between two African-American athletes. And they got to really watch that. Okay? Especially when you have a young lady from the WNBA that nobody watches, a league that makes no money. And I think Crawford kind of generated a good amount of money in his career. I think Shakur Stevenson has generated. The WNBA generates nothing yet. You got her little name correct. Okay? And honestly, coincidence, we're talking about that a lot with the McGregor talk. Is it a coincidence that one of the oldest racist jokes in fucking on planet is that they all look the same? And I don't mean to say it, like that, but that's what the joke is, right?
You're just acknowledging that it exists.
I'm just acknowledging this shit, and look at what we're doing here, UFC. Like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking? You can't look up bro. Like, I don't believe it. First off, I'm not gonna sit here and play dumb. I don't get fucking free passes or money or anything from Dana, so I don't believe you guys. Yeah. I think you absolutely don't know what you're doing, but I'm not going to say it's because of racism. I'm going to say it's because you guys are fucking jealous. You're just jealous that these boys are taking over your sport, your company, your bankroll. You understand?
Taking over the money.
Sure, taking over the money. Okay? It's going to be the guys that listen to Floyd and Terrence label Top Rank and avoid their signings. It's going to be them that if Shakur or Terrence or someone comes out and goes, you know what? I don't know why they're doing this, but I don't like it. And I think it might be a little bit. We remember the reports on the UFC about the black UFC fighters that felt like they weren't getting the same attention as the white. Right. They went through their little thing already. You don't want that fire coming back. So if I'm Dana, I'm probably coming out and saying I'm fired somebody for last night's mistake. I'm fucking done. Like, I know you were mad, but I think we want this fire put out. Because this is the second time you got the black man wrong, dude. Seriously. And these are pretty known black people in the sports world. This isn't fucking, well, he only got popular last week.
Yeah, one of the reasons I even looked up their pay-per-view buys and stuff is the fact that he says, we got this fucking celebrity thing wrong. I thought that was kind of funny because, and not a lot of people know Shakur. They know Shakur, but not a lot of people know Shakur enough to be called a celebrity. I don't know about that, but it kind of made me laugh that that's the particular phrase that he used. I just sent you a quick screenshot of what Jalen Williams looks like. Does he look like that's the thing with Crawford? You can kind of joke that he does kind of look like Kendrick Lamar. We can kind of do that, right? And that looks to be more of an honest mistake. This one looks just incompetent stupidity. Like, I don't know. I don't remember seeing if they actually went as far as to pan over to Jalen Williams, if he was even in attendance. But is it a matter of an error like, oh shit, I thought he was that guy, or just maybe an error like, oh yeah, the next guy that we put the camera onto was gonna be him, we just put the graphic a little too early or something?
Unfortunately, I think they lose their job if it's honest or dishonest.
You think it's the same person? You think the same motherfucker?
Miguel, I think Dana needs to put an end to this, because at some point someone's gonna bring it up. And it does look really bad when you can't tell the difference between four African-American athletes, because it's not like they're just supposed to pay attention to the boxer. You're telling me they didn't know what Jalen Williams looked like?
One rapper, I guess. One
rapper. Yeah. But a very popular rapper, dude.
Yeah.
Like when you look at
middle of the Super Bowl fucking halftime show.
Yeah, and destroyed Drake's career. I think his video is like one of the most watched videos of all time.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at Terrence Crawford, you don't go, oh, Kendrick Lamar. Nobody ever said that, dude. So the fact that they didn't even know who Kendrick Lamar looked like, you guys are fucking playing games. You're stop it, right? If I'm Dana White, I'm not just mad. I come out and go, no, I walked in there and fired the fucking guy who was the head of the production crew that night. We're getting someone who knows fucking celebrities. Sorry. Pay attention, motherfucker. Get a clue, right? But what I don't want is that you got every fucking white person right in the building and we keep getting the black people wrong. That's what I don't want.
Yeah, that's
and then
a very slippery slope that they're fucking
it's
playing.
a very slippery, bro. It's the oldest joke in the book.
Yeah.
And they keep getting it hit right on the head. What?
Yeah. So I saw that, and he goes off. But you said there were other things about the press conference that he blows up on, right? I wanted to get to his Shakur's verbal altercation with Shannon Sharpe. But before we get to that, was there anything in particular you want to talk about that post-fight press conference about Dana going off?
Well, yeah, dude, we dominated the press conference. It was pretty fucking eye-opening. If I'm in the MMA world or UFC world, I don't like the question. You know what? I would almost say we're not doing, unless TKO is all in on this, why are we doing fucking 20-something minutes of boxing questions when we just had the biggest UFC event in history? By the gate, by gate.
Yeah.
And they also said viewerships. They think they're going to smash the UFC 250.
No shit. Oh, really?
Oh, wow. Yeah. The White House one. They think this. Dude, he said he did 80 million views just on the weigh-ins.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He came back and doubled it. First, he said 40 million, like in one day. And then, like, at the end of the press conference, he comes back and he's like, oh, yeah, it's 88 million or something now on just the weigh-ins. So, talk about all that. Talk about the fighter. Talk about Patty's next fight. Think of something UFC, but dude, from 8 minutes in to the end of that motherfucking conference, which was only 25 minutes long, he gets like 6 or 7 questions on boxing, dude. Pretty fucking significant. If I'm the UFC world, did I stay here? Could you imagine me as a media member? Think about De La Hoya or Mayweather just fought, and all I'm listening to is Dana White talking about the next UFC fights. I would be hot as a boxing writer, right? Why am I even, what am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, so he talked about the Ryan Garcia and Conor Ben not being announced. Did you hear what his excuse was? He goes, they started talking shit to each other. I'm more worried about the fight that was in front of me than the fight that was before me.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
You know, sometimes that just happens. Two guys are going to fight each other, and it just, and he leaves it like, what does that have to do with an official announcement? If anything, doesn't that make the official announcement awesome? Like, matter of fact, hey, why don't you guys stand next to each other? This is it, and then have them go at it. Like, fuck at it. But that was his excuse on why that one wasn't announced. He put in there.
We'll get to that shortly too after we get done with Shannon Sharpe here.
He then said, but it's trending in the right direction. Read in between the line, boys. What? When do we ever get told that? Like, I got nothing for you, but I mean, come on, seriously, just read in between the lines.
It's like, we can't tell you anything, but
make your own story.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there was a lot of gems. The one that was the guys that you need to go back 19 minutes in, or 16 minutes in. They start with the Fury and the Anthony Joshua questions, dude, and that's where Dana really puts his foot in his mouth, man. These guys, they sound like they're over the pond. They all sound like Eddie Hearn, so I'm saying they're over the pond reporters. They didn't fucking back down on him, dude. When he started with that bullshit, sounding like the fucking groupie again about, I told you I know where this fight's gonna be at. They're like, how?
But I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. They're like, how? He's still talking to the mayor. One guy even asked him, he goes, do you have anything to say to the mayor before he makes his decision about this can happen? And Dana's like, I got nothing to say to him. Dude, there's a lot of I don't knows with a lot of crooked smiles. Like, he is totally out of the loop on that whole fucking thing. He really is. And at the end, I told you, dude, some guy put, well, you know what? It really seems like you're not even in line with Turkey. Turkey saying one thing, you're here tonight saying another. Are you guys even in the same alignment? He looks and goes, yes, sir. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but him and Oscar are both probably getting memos, dude.
Right. They're
Yeah,
just getting short text messages like, oh shit, okay.
yeah.
I guess this is how it's gonna go. Before we get to that specifically, Conor Ben and Ryan Garcia, which we'll get to shortly, to continue on the Shakur train, boy, um, he got into it with Shannon Sharpe on whatever the hell, I don't know if it was a podcast or ESPN or whatever the fuck it was, but man, it got heated pretty fast with Shannon Sharpe calling Shakur boring, and Shakur throwing F bombs left and right, being like, I don't give a flying fuck. And then Shannon Sharpe saying, like, yo, show some respect. And then them going back at each other and being like, man, I fucking squash you kind of thing. You're like, what the fuck? It got out of hand and escalated real fucking fast. It was basically the newer version of Floyd Mayweather and what's his name? Brian May. What the hell's his name? I forget his last name, but the dude that used to do Friday Night Fights. Also, actually, he did a lot of the early ESPN
Oh yeah,
cards.
yeah.
Remember that dude from ESPN, right? How him and Floyd got into it. I'm trying to remember his last name, but anyway, point is, it was like that. Andy, did you catch that? Did you watch it? Did you get a good feel? Who was in the right here? It seemed like because of age, Shannon thought he could just talk to the motherfucker, like to Shakur the way he could. Anybody, like, no, I'm gonna talk mad shit about you, but you can't say shit because you're younger than me. And Shakur was like, dude, fuck you, son. Like, who the fuck are you? I don't give a fuck if you're older, you ain't my daddy. Like, don't be trying to go that shit. I kind of side with Shakur, although I think Shakur could have handled it a little bit better. Maybe not necessarily go total hood, which he kind of sort of did, but I kind of side with Shakur on this. Was Shannon Sharpe out of line, or am I mistaken?
They were probably both out of line. I think they both could have handled it better. Obviously, I hate when the boxer right away pivots to the "it doesn't matter what my education is, I'm a fighter" kind of deal. And that's what Shakur did right away because he was calling them ignorant. You know what I mean? And Shannon had, I think, after number 3 of the insults, 3 times he said it to him, said, "Stop calling me that. You're nowhere near where this dude went to a university, he graduated. Like, the fuck out of you. Like, stop calling him ignorant. There's no one ignorant in the room except the guy who didn't fucking finish school, you fucking moron. And we shouldn't fucking praise that you didn't. Like, there's a million
in the
kids,
boxing world, like to call him boring.
I don't think you call someone. To me, he should never have let that word come out of his mouth, like Shannon Sharpe said. Find another way to say it. You don't know what you're saying about boxing, but don't go after the man's IQ when the man can fucking outdo you in the IQ area, right? And that's an insult to call someone that word. So I thought it was wrong for Shannon Sharpe to do that.
Oh, okay.
Shakur to do that. Excuse me. Now, what was wrong with Shannon Sharpe's approach is when he started with the "I'll knock you out." You can't do anything to me. Like, dude, stop it. What are we doing here? Right? Like, that was childish. So they both kind of ruined it for themselves. Sorry, babe, thank you. What Shakur needs to realize, though, is the football community is a very small community. Don't piss off one of their unks. I know he was calling them unk, and that's my guy. But you ain't really in that circle. You're an athlete, but you're not a former NFL Hall of Fame all-time leading receiver athlete. You don't want a bad vibe with all the guys, right? You don't want all of them going, man, you're ignorant, right? Because all of them actually have education, right? The ones that took advantage of being in school. Not all NFL players can read a fucking book, let's not get it twisted. So that I was more worried that Shakur damaged his market by arguing with a guy in the NFL when the NFL is very close knit, dude. Like, those are the guys that are going to come see you and spend those $20,000 on those seats that you guys are going to be demanding here soon. That I've seen the whole offensive lineman at a fucking fight before. Like, Buffer just said the whole line. He didn't even name them. I think they won. I think it was the Bucks. They won the Super Bowl. He just said the whole offensive lineman's here. whole offensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you want to stay in a positive light. Hopefully they can bring that back, mend it, maybe come back to the show, say, hey, we were both a little off there. But
yeah, because I mean, I kind of think that Shannon Sharpe started it by calling him fucking boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of the reason. Like, maybe Shannon Sharpe should have brought a different approach and given a different word to not just immediately call a motherfucker boring like that, because that's kind of what I think triggered Shakur. I mean, realistically, if he is boring, let's just go that route. Shannon Sharpe and his buddies are not going to go watch his fight anyway. So it's like, I'm sure from Shakur's side, I said, well, fuck it. If you guys are going to come to my fight anyway, well, fuck you, ignorant motherfucker. Get the fuck out of here. They weren't going to come to his fight anyway because they're boring, right? But Shannon Sharpe could have at least himself, the educated man that he is, at least found another fucking synonym to like be like, it's not as exciting as a lot of people thought, right? And not necessarily be like, you're fucking boring, dude. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but he might as well have said it.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, using the term boring. I didn't, like I said, didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah. But when I watched when Shannon got mad was the ignorant comment that came, and he says it like 3 times before Shannon goes, dude, like, that's when he tell him, be respectful. You keep calling me that. I graduated, you didn't. So know your place, which is hella true, dude. There's hella true. Yeah. There's truth behind knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, don't go there, Shakur, if you didn't fucking graduate, dog. I'm telling you, that's one you're gonna lose.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not talking about in general. Again, he should have used another word.
He doesn't clarify that.
No, he doesn't clarify it. He doesn't clarify it at all. But that's what he meant. But that's kind of, I thought maybe that should go without saying. He's talking about in the boxing realm, because realistically, we're all ignorant, just of different things, like, I don't know jack shit about fucking rocket science. I'm ignorant of that. That's just how it is, right? I mean, it's just how it is. So we don't all know everything. And at the moment, they were talking about boxing. So when he throws in that word, I immediately understood it as referring to within the context of boxing, if Shannon believes him to be boring, which I don't think he is. Yeah, he might not be the most exciting, rock'em sock'em type of fights. I get that, but boring is far from what I see when I see Shakur in the ring. So I took it like that.
I can throw a low blow right now and say Shakur signed a contract of a company that doesn't even know his fucking name. How smart is that?
Oh yeah, no.
You ever answered a building?
I thought a low blow. That's a straight jab to the fucking nose, homie. That's not even.
You ever entered a building and they had the wrong name tag for you, Miguel?
Yeah.
So these boxers better start realizing they crossed enemy lines, dude. Listen, you guys got into a company that doesn't even look at you as real fighters. You do know that. A lot of the MMA world act as if boxing is a one-dimensional. You can kick them in the ankle and they will fall type of fucking fighter. Seriously. The respect level that boxers get from MMA is ridiculous, bro. And these guys need to understand it. And that mess up that they've done twice to you was not a coincidence. They don't even know who the fuck you are is what they're saying. You understand? So
his IQ enough to get it right.
His IQ level of signing a business contract isn't really high. And if I'm Shannon Sharpe, I probably come back with that Monday, right? Did you really make the right decision? Bet you Matchroom knew who the fuck you were. Bet you Top Rank knew who you were. I'm telling you guys, this is why Dana might have to fire someone and come out publicly about that. We're tired of getting the fucking boxers wrong. I'm going to say boxers, someone else might bring in race, and then you guys are fucked. That's a wildfire you will not stop. Go ask Bob Arum. Go ask even De La Hoya when Canelo turned on him, right? A fighter can turn young fighters to start doing different things. They can change their minds. You understand? Don't let it get to there. It's the oldest joke in the book, and you guys keep fucking it up, man. Get a Mexican wrong. Do somebody else. The next UFC fight, bro, you better start getting white people wrong all day, dude. Fucking A, man.
Oh, boy. All right. Anything else you want to add to this Shannon Sharpe and probably wrapping up on Shakur Stevenson in particular here?
Nope. That was a good one.
All right. So this next one kind of goes back to the first topic, but kind of not. So there was a rumor. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. Where did I have it here? That at the UFC 329 weigh-in, They were supposed to, they meaning Dana White, Zuffa, UFC, were going to announce Ryan Garcia versus Conor Ben. It sounds as though that got halted real fast by one Oscar De La Hoya yet again. Let me go ahead and turn to Fight Club 24/7 on Facebook. Sources close to Ryan Garcia's team have told me that Oscar De La Hoya allegedly sent a cease and desist letter to Ryan Garcia preventing the official announcement of the Conor Ben fight at last night's UFC 329 weigh-in. I'm meaning Friday night. The fight is fully expected to happen, so we're still probably going to get it, as any issues is expected to be ironed out. An announcement is expected next week, but we're getting close to that last chance saloon with this. Okay, so there's a reason why those guys were on stage. If it did seem a little strange that Ryan Garcia was there, he was there. Conor Ben was there, and also Shakur Stevenson. And I missed it, but Andrew, you caught it. Callum Walsh was also there. Zuffa boxing guys, minus Ryan, because technically Ryan's with Oscar still. But if it seems strange to you to any degree that they were up there, yeah, it's most likely because the UFC was Zuffa. I keep saying UFC, but Zuffa was going to announce that we're going to have Ryan Garcia fight Conor Ben. And unfortunately, it didn't happen, probably because Oscar De La Hoya is right. I mean, he sends this cease and desist letter. I believe this is the second time already that they were planning to have an announcement, and Oscar blocked it twice. You can't do that unless you're right, unless the law says, yeah, this motherfucker's got a point. We can't do it, right? But if it looked weird to you, probably because they couldn't announce it and they were expecting it. Andrew, you asked this question before we started recording, but I have to ask it to you again. What the hell's the holdup? What could potentially be holding up the fact that this fight has yet to be announced, even though it seems that the announcement is imminent?
I believe Eddie Hearn told us a few weeks ago what's holding it up, and is it the fact that DAZN does not want to give up Ryan Garcia in this fight? They want some kind of attachment to this fight, whether it's they get to show it too on their new pay-per-view thing that they're fucking charging their guys how much money for? I mean,
$500.
Can you really lose a Ryan Garcia showdown when you're charging your customer fan base that much money? So maybe they're really got their foot down. What we do know is they're a part of the cease and assist letter, and Ryan Garcia and everyone needs to stop acting like it's just Oscar. This is not just Oscar. And if you really look at it, in my opinion, it might have been Oscar who fucked this all up by selling Ryan Garcia off to Turkey without getting the approval of DAZN. That's why I said he tried to do a wham bam. You know what I'm saying? Like, he sells them the rights, but then goes, oh yeah, but you still got to put it on DAZN because they have the exclusive rights to Ryan. And Turkey's like, fuck you, I'm not putting it on DAZN. I want it for whatever he wants to do with it. I don't even know where Netflix. Okay. Yeah, makes more money, more eyeballs. Yeah, it makes sense, but that's where I think Oscar might have messed this whole thing up. Let's see where that relationship ends with DAZN and Oscar. If they really lose this in battle and they lose the Ryan Garcia fight to Netflix, that could really hurt the friendship between, or the business partnership between Golden Boy Promotions and DAZN, right? DAZN might not be happy, but that's what's holding this up. I don't believe it has anything to do with De La Hoya. Everyone's poking at De La Hoya because he's easy to blame, but the real issue is a contract issue again over TV rights.
Yeah, and if you remember, there's a I want to say recently, I forget what fight it was, but it was a Golden Boy card, and Chris Mannix asked Oscar De La Hoya about it, and he, at that time, this was before he said recently, I finally got the memo, I finally hit my desk. This is before then. He says, I've yet to hear anything back then, but he says, one thing I know for sure is that the fight is going to happen on DAZN. He said that specifically, that particular interview. So it's like, all right, so yeah, maybe we look to Oscar and be like, he's the one that sent this, but it's really more so DAZN by way of Oscar, I suppose, but primarily DAZN, because when they're charging this $500, I don't know how much they're charging for Anthony Joshua and fucking this Christian Pranga fight, which is, a fucking tune-up. But if you log into your DAZN app, it says buy now. I'm like, what the fuck? No one want to buy this shit. So this is one of the pay-per-views that they're supposed to be, and if I paid the over $500 a year mark for the ultimate package or whatever the shit it is, then obviously to make it worth that, they're gonna have to have people's eyeballs on DAZN, and Ryan brings those eyeballs to DAZN at least. So according to Oscar, that fight has to happen on DAZN, and that makes a lot of sense. It seems this is specifically the reason, because every time I hear anything about Ryan and Conor, it says Netflix on there, and that's just fan made posters, something like that, right? That they made themselves, nothing official by any stretch, but it seems as though there is where the fight was going to be landing. If it doesn't anymore, well, we know why specifically, but it makes sense that this distribution shit is where the holdup is, and it's almost kind of a sign of what we might see in the near future with Zuffa being in Paramount and these guys being in DAZN and having this shit go back and forth like this. Maybe, I mean, according to this, the fight's going to get made, so that's good news. It's some sort of good sign for the future that a fight will be made. Whenever there's Zuffa guys from Paramount and DAZN people, but it looks like this is the kind of stuff we're going to get into again in the near future with this.
Yeah, and that's why all the promotional companies had to come together, dude. This is how they're going to block Zuffa out of just the bidding war. You know what I mean? They're going to make their own fights. They're going to put them on. Yeah, we'll see. They have to stop it before they get too much momentum, because it doesn't mean that they've won yet. They're just, this is their last.
It's not too late. It's not too late, right? Because I know everybody, when Zuffa came in to try to change the Ali Act, I was like, fuck, they're going to do it. It's already, they're already pissed off and shit. It's like, no, relax. They haven't done it yet. There's still time to block this shit.
Yeah, this is their in my opinion, might be the last stand of the promoters right here.
Oh, damn. This is crazy shit. Just insane.
If they lose this one, they take a back seat for the next 5 years. They let Zuffa run the sport and see if they fail. If they don't fail, then they move on. But look, this whole thing about not having any of the belts attached to these guys, I don't think is a working blueprint, dude. I really don't. I don't think fans are just going to tune in because you say they're the best fighters in the world. That's just my opinion. Boxing, there's a thing with these titles, man. There's legacy behind them. There's country pride behind some of this stuff. Like when your guy has all the titles and he's, Mexican or he's Filipino or the country gets behind that. Like, yeah, he's a fucking champ. Like, we will see.
Can they still have that with the ring? Because obviously, Turkey owns it, right? But my point is, they they signed Opetaya, who was the Ring Magazine cruiserweight champ. They just signed Shakur, who's technically the 140-pound champ at that, because he did beat the last man, which was Teofimo. So now he's the Ring Magazine 140-pound champ. Does that have any credibility whatsoever? No,
because he has no opponent. He needs an opponent. The shit dies with him if he fights Rayo and fucking, all their has-been guys. So no, he still needs opponents. And I'm just saying the belts, I think, are still going to play a role. But if they get rid of them and they start signing everyone, they start with this whole UFC platform where, no, it's whoever we say is the best and you guys will watch, then so be it. But I don't think it works.
Then they win. Then they win at that point. But
they win at that point. But I don't.
It's still too high of a hill to climb.
Yeah. Yeah. And the boxing fan is not the UFC fan.
No.
Once again, Miguel, I got to say the UFC gets away with a lot over there, where I don't think that rides over here. We fucking turn on our promoters all the time. You know what I mean? You'll have fan bases like, oh, I'm never watching this again. I won't pay for this. Like where I don't know, over there, they walk on water, man.
Yeah. All right.
This is one thing I wanted to say. The crowd.
Wait, you're cutting off. Slow down.
How would the UFC, they're at the weigh-ins, right? There's thousands of people there to see Conor McGregor and Holloway, right? Dana White goes, before this weigh-in, I like to make a Zuffa announcement. I'm going to have Conor Bren and Ryan Garcia fight each other. What do you think the audience response would be?
I don't think he would have done that before Conor and Max hopped on the scale. I want to say my guess after that's done, like don't go yet. We have a major announcement for you guys. Don't go
Okay.
yet. And then
And
boom,
how
throw
would
that
it
out there.
respond? And how would they
Uh,
respond? Honest, Miguel.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it a positive. On the undercard, the co-main event was Paddy Pimblett, who's English. They had English fans there. Who also was English? Conor Ben. So maybe Conor Ben's fans would have been like, fuck yeah. I don't think they would have enough Latino fans there to be like Ryan Garcia, yay. So it would have been mixed reactions, but I think the English, because they're fucking loud and they're drunk, would have celebrated it and be like, hell yeah. But it would have sounded a weird mixture of like, huh? And then yeah, fuck yeah. So it wouldn't have been great. I don't think so. But there would have been some positive out of it because of the English fans in the crowd.
Well, I like that you try to keep it positive, but I'm going to tell you right now, they would have been booed. And they would have been booed because nobody in the MMA likes the fact that these boxers, one-dimensional ass, can't beat a MMA guy if their life depended on it, fan base.
But still getting paid more than them, fan base.
But still, and that's where they would have hated on them. They don't, dude. You have all the UFC. You have O'Malley going, "Who's this guy, Conor Ben? I don't even know his name." You've got other guys going, "It's not right. We put in our blood." The fan base is really siding with them. I don't even think they get cheered. And you are right, Conor Ben's fans. You might hear some, but I think the majority of that 20,000, 10,000 plus fans over there, I think Dana would have totally backfired on them, and you're going to hear boos because the MMA. Well, they do have some crossover fans. I talk to one every Sunday. The majority, maybe close to majority of them, are MMA only. They don't fucking respect boxing. They don't think boxers can step in the cage. They hate that the MMA guys go over there and get beat up all the time by Jake Paul. There's so much bad blood there. I don't see them going, yeah, boxing, woo. Get out of here. So
not even if they try to spin it in a way like, oh, our guy Dana is taking over your fucking sport. Not even like that. Like maybe if they try to spin it that way and change the narrative a little bit and be like, see, I fucking told you we're taking over. Anything like that, you don't think they would cheer for that?
The fighters, I think, have the fans back on what's going on with them right now. So I'm saying maybe as Dana builds his roster and starts throwing more big fights, that could happen. Like, yeah, we knew we were going to take over kind of attitude. But yesterday, I don't know, man. I think it's still a little too early to announce boxing on a UFC platform. They don't. That's not their sport, you know. And Jake Paul's he's really hurt that shit with all the fighting he's doing on some of these ex MMA guys where they don't even like, you know. And I agree with them. I think it's totally time for one of you boxers to step in the ring, and that's what I got to say too. Whatever happened about fucking alpha males, man? Did we lose our alpha males in our sport? Yeah, it's kind of getting like an old story, like how Timothy Bradley, Terrence Crawford. Oh, I don't want to get kicked. I don't want to get the. Oh yeah, those guys are rough, man. Oh man, those guys are rough. Do you really think Roberto Duran would have been scared of a cage fight back in the day?
Dude, you ask Sugar Ray Leonard now if he'd be Floyd, he'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I'd be Floyd."
Yeah, you know what I mean though. Like, what happened to our I'm the best in the world. No one's gonna fucking beat me.
I have an idea. They became athletes and not fighters. And what's his name said something along the lines. Mike Tyson said Floyd was a businessman. You know, we were animals. You know, I think
that's more around the lines right there, dude.
It's they're athletes like and athletic guys because we see it now with MMA, the evolution. Even guys who were like fucking in their jiu-jitsu geese back then would fucking like poke your eye out kind of shit, you know. And now but they'd get tired because you know they weren't athletic. Now they're athletes, but they don't have that same like hunger type of thing, you know, in them. The animal instinct. I'm not saying they all do. Some do, but I suspect that's what happened. Floyd kind of fucked it up to some degree. They all want to be that. They all want to be, you know, the smart businessman athletes. And if they don't have to, go in there and fucking get blood and guts type of shit, they won't. So I suspect that has something to do with they're businessmen, they're athletes, right? They want to be looked upon more like this and not so much animals. I mean, you look at Roberto Duran after he beat, I forgot who it was, and he was like holding on to his balls, like, yeah, motherfucker, right? That I think that's gone. So I suspect that's what might have happened.
Just very sad that they play stepbrother to that sport now. It really seems like they have that attitude, like, oh yeah, man, this guy would kick my butt. He really would. I just don't see that. And I don't see Mike Tyson ever doing that to another man. You know what I'm saying? When he said, "I want your soul, I'll fucking eat your kids." I don't want to be him like, oh, he might kick me in my leg. Fuck. And can we say that kicks? I don't know about you guys and your kicking, man.
Dude.
Hey, let me tell you, wait a minute. We've had a lot of high-profile fights and not too many broken hands, right? But there's been a lot of UFC fights where this kicking really hurts the guy who's throwing the kick. Broken legs, torn ACLs. You know what I mean? Like, how good is it to really kick in a fight? When we see these many things happening in championship fights.
So again, just my hypothesis. I don't know for sure, but because of the technique, you see the way they throw a right hand or something, and it's not like a boxer's, right? They're never going to throw it like that. They're never going to spend as nearly as much time as a boxer throwing a right hand. So they're gonna fucking probably hurt their hand doing it because of their sloppy ass technique. I have to assume it's the same thing with the kicks. They don't have years of karate experience or Muay Thai experience to be able to snap a fucking kick properly, kick with the right part of the leg kind of thing. And they just do it because they're hitting a pad or a punching bag in the fucking gym. But then when somebody blocks it with their fucking knee, they're like, oh shit. So if you watch Muay Thai guys, they roll bottles of fucking like empty beer bottles, glass bottles on their shins, and it fucking deadens their fucking nerves and stuff. So they'll crack you hard. Years of that, MMA guys won't have. They'll have some, but they won't have that. So my guess is really the crappy technique.
Okay,
that's my guess.
Yeah, it's been a lot, and I'm saying a lot. I know I'm going years back, but a lot of high-profile fights have ended with the guy who threw the kick. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just an insane one. But
that's my guess. All right. So this is another one. We kind of touched on it earlier, but it seems as though one Devin Haney might drop his belt to fight at the 144-pound weight class with Shakur Stevenson. Now, I touched on it earlier, right? I don't think we went over it specifically, but does this seem likely? Andrew, do you think it might look to the outside world that maybe Devin is ducking, if you want to say, Keyshawn Davis, but does it seem like likely that he's going to follow the bag, right? He doesn't have that killer instinct, and he's going to follow that with Zuffa and get this 144-pound fight with Shakur and drop the belt to Keyshawn Davis. Does that seem like is most likely to happen?
It seems like more likely now because the father already put out the tweets about being with Zuffa. Now we're seeing that Shakur signing did come true. He did sign with them when Eddie Hearn told us weeks ago that it had already happened. Most likely in the next I just don't be surprised in the next few weeks, a week or two, we do hear that Haney is now fighting under Zuffa. They announced it a while ago. Right, his father did. So with that being said, I mean, yeah, it's definitely that's why he's dropping the title. You guys, he's moving. They don't need titles to where they're going. The money's already guaranteed. Like, look, $16 million guaranteed is probably what they would have made if they took $5 million guaranteed and then got a percentage out of TV tickets and all that. So they're just getting the money up front. Now, what Turkey and them need to pray is that not only do they cash in on what they would have made, but they're going to double that. We're going to make these guys bigger stars than what their percentage. We already paid them what the percentage would have paid them on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Now they need to try to bubble that, and so that's the fighter doesn't give a fuck. You think if I'm Devin Haney, I'm like, oh man, I really got to make them a dime back.
Hmm.
Fuck no, the money, his money's
It's
already in the.
already cleared. It's already cleared.
It's already cleared. 16
Hmm.
million is like a major pro athlete's yearly salary. I don't need any more. So their fire goes really low. As far as like having a motive to,
Hmm.
I need to generate money. No, what's my contract? 4 fights, 70 million, guaranteed.
Yeah, I'll fight twice a year. Sure. Um, according to this, the winner of Devin and Shakur in 2027 will fight, or looks like they're going to fight, Gervonta Davis. So now I ask you the same question about that. How likely is it, do you think, that we're going to get the winner of these guys to fight Gervonta? Again, Gervonta is still with PBC. PBC just went over to DAZN. Here we go again. Does it seem likely that we're going to get this fight even in 2027?
No, I believe that's where they're lying. They're just using Gervonta Davis's name to get some clicks. They know he gets a lot of clicks on the internet, so why not? But Gervonta won. Now you're looking at like what, $35 million guaranteed money for the winner of that fight to fight Gervonta. Gervonta's already, he told us a $30 million guy. I don't know if it's true or not. That's what he told us. So you would have to think that his contract against another promotional company star is going to be in the ballpark of at least 15 to 20 million, right? And Devin, so they're looking at 31 million easy, $32 million easy to get those guys in the ring. You guys, the numbers start outpricing themselves unless they have the casinos involved where they're going, hey, we'll guarantee you guys 20 million, give us the tickets, and then they try to make whatever from Netflix. These fights, at some point, Turkey needs to make money back. So we can say all the names that we want. Oh, maybe he's going to fight Ryan first, and then the winner of that fight is going to fight fucking thing. But, dude, if we take these two fights, Devin and Shakur, that's guaranteed 30 million. We're going to lowball this here. 30 million, right? But they don't make back 30 million. But then you're telling me he's going to turn around and sign him to fight Gervonta for another 30 million? So they're in the whole $60 million? You think Gervonta and Devin are making, you know what I'm saying? Like the hole just keeps getting deeper. We got to stop with the bullshit. At some point, can Zuffa get one card off before we start talking about 2027, right? And Dana White's thing about I did Canelo Crawford, stop it. Canelo Crawford, stop it. No, you didn't. You had nothing to do with that. Your boss bought to put his name on that flyer. That's all that happened there. You had no part in building that fight, promoting it. There was just nothing there. So can they get one of these big cards off? And I'm not talking Berlanga and Hitchens. I'm talking something like a Devin Haney versus a Shakur Stevenson. Let's see them do it first before I start talking about Gervonta Davis as their next fight, because we need to see success.
We need some action. Some serious action.
Yeah. The fight is warranting so much money and a demand. We need to see something back. I know we're going over. We're going over, you guys.
I'm going to go through these real quick, but right now that you just reminded me, it wouldn't have been better. I mean, now I'm just thinking about it. Like Berlanga and Hitchens are going to be fighting here real soon. Not against each other, but on the same card, I think, right, in New York or whatever. In a few weeks, that would have been perfect to announce fucking Ryan and Conor, right? It's a Zuffa boxing card. Do it there.
Very
Why
true.
not do it quickly? You don't go like they did not want to, especially considering that they got the cease and desist. Just hold off on it. You have yourself boxing fans in the Zuffa boxing for the weigh-ins or whatever the shit. Do it there. Why not?
De La Hoya says they're not even getting 20,000 views.
Oh.
So, or was it 200,000? Maybe 200,000. 200,000 views.
I hope the money was worth it, guys. I hope for Berlanga and Hitchens that, I know, legacy doesn't pay bills, but if that's what you want, then by all means. Okay, so let's go ahead and get through these last topics here real quick. Jerome Boots Ennis. I read recently here. I'm going back to this thing. It seems as though this is for pound on X. Breaking news: Eddie Hearn says Boots and Josh Kelly has a very good chance of happening next. Now, Both these guys are with Matchroom, so it seems likely that they can make this fight happen much easier. Um, Ennis just defeated Xander Zayas for the WBA and WBO, I believe, 154-pound championships, and Josh Kelly has the IBF, who he took off of Bakram. I cannot pronounce his last name, but that guy, the dude who knocked out Tim Tszyu. Anyway, so it seems as though this fight is next. Considering that we haven't exactly ironed out this issue with Oscar De La Hoya and Virgil Ortiz, and Fundora is going to have a mandatory title defense. This is pretty logical, right? I mean, this seems okay. It still is a step forward in the weight class. It's still yet another unification fight, and it's easier to make for Matchroom because it's all in house, I suppose. But this is a pretty good fight. No, I mean, this is considering Oscar still kind of is tying up Virgil with this, and Fundora has that title defense. This is the next best thing, no?
Of course, it's the next best thing. It's something we told the fans that was going to come down the pipeline anyways. With them being under the same umbrella, they both have belts. Josh Kelly, that seasoned veteran finally got his title. What did they say? It was like 10 years the dude's been fighting.
Yeah.
He finally gets his belt. It's like almost everyone involved deserves this money grab. Ennis had to go through the BS of Virgil Ortiz and De La Hoya's bullshit. You know what I mean? Then he goes and steps up and takes on a hard replacement fighter. We give credit for Zayas stepping up to take that fight. What about Ennis just doubling down? Like, you know what? Don't give me Ortiz. Fine. Give me the next guy. That's pretty cool on his part. So he deserves, I'm not going to say an easy title grab, but you know what I mean? It's not Ortiz. It's Josh Kelly. So
yeah, it's not Fundora.
Exactly. Everybody involved, I think, deserves this money grab that's about to happen. And if Josh Kelly pulls off a miracle, then he pulls off a miracle. But I'm totally in, and it was something that was going to happen from the very beginning. They didn't burn it, though. I wish he would have burned the Ortiz contract. That would have been cool.
And I don't see it too much of a miracle for Josh Kelly. The guy's pretty good. He's good. I think he's an Olympian medalist. I forgot what he got. But yeah, granted, it's against an American, right? An English against an American. Here we go again. So yeah. It might be one of those things where, like, he isn't proven really until he does it. But he put on a great performance against Bakram. The guy moves around a lot. He's not easy. I don't think this will be an easy fight. He won't stay in front of him the way Xander did. But, I don't know if the fight's going to get, done anyway. We're still kind of in the beginning stages of that. But I'm down for that. And it's another unification fight. It gives us more clarity on who the number one dude at 154 is. I'm down with that. Fuck yeah. All right. And then last one. This one's kind of a sad one. Unfortunately, we have to end on a bit of a sad note. But Joe, the Juggernaut Joyce, seems to have, I didn't see the ending of the fight, so I don't know if he officially announced it. But if you guys watch his last fight, he basically pulled off an Oliver McCall versus Lennox Lewis rematch. If you guys are that old to remember, he basically quit in the middle of the fucking fight. He was doing okay, but he was getting hit, and it got to the point where basically he was getting hit a lot, and he did one of these like no mas. Yeah, there you go. That's a better way to do it. He did a no mas. He did one of those things, and the referee was like, "Oh shit, okay, call it." And the sadness in his face, you can see that I don't know if it's just a temporary phase, because even Oliver McCall, for him, I think he was like in heavy drug use around that time. I'm not saying that this is the case here, but maybe he's in a dark place right now and he shouldn't be boxing, or it's officially the end of his career. He hasn't been the same since his previous losses. I forgot who it was against. I think it was Zhang. But anyway, if you guys watch it, it looked sad. He kind of did one of these things, and the referee just kind of like embraced him. Andrew, did you catch the highlight of him kind of quitting in the end? I'm gonna say the middle of the fight because it was basically the ending, but in that fight.
Yeah, no, he definitely quit at the end. He looks at he kind of puts up his hand, like waves it off, and then they don't do it right away. Then he even looks at the ref and is like shaking his head no. So it's over. That's broken mentally. If he doesn't get out, shame on his trainers for even training him to put him back in the ring. Yeah, he's going to get himself hurt if he tries to come back after being that folded.
Yeah, and you can see it in his body language, like even at the beginning of the fucking fight, because he came out. He was never the most ripped guy, but his body didn't look in the form that I thought he would be.
I know Dubois took a knee, but Was it Joe Joyce that made Dubois take a knee? Is that the fight that I'm
Um,
thinking about? Because at
yes,
first I was like,
yes,
all right, so
that was
it's Joe
I
Joyce. All
want to
right.
say that was Dubois' first loss. They were both basically guys on the verge of becoming the next hot shit in the English heavyweight division. So, but they put them against another, and Joe Joyce won, which is kind of crazy looking back now because Daniel Dubois is where he is right now, and it's
Yeah.
Joe Joyce who's on the way out. But yes, it was Joyce. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because at first I was like, I could have swore I seen Joe Joyce quit before, but I think he was actually the one that made Dubois quit. All right.
Yeah. Two KO losses to back-to-back losses to Zhang, that humongous Chinese boxer. One KO victory after that, and then three losses back-to-back. Two of them decisions, one to Chisora, and then recently with last night or Saturday. So one victory in his last six fights. Shit.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's definitely a wrap.
So well, hats off to him. He did what he could. When I pulled him up here, I saw that he was silver in the 2016 Olympics. So he made it far. You know what I'm saying? He maybe not didn't reach the potential that people thought he was going to reach, but unfortunately, this is the end of the road. And if you look at it, if you watch the clip, it was a no moss moment. He's like, I'm done with this shit. I'm out of it. So once you're out, once you check out up here, it doesn't matter what the fuck your body goes through. As long as up here you're checked out, you're done.
Yep.
Okay. I think we got through everything we needed to talk about. Was there anything else you want to add to this before we call it a show?
No, sir. That is good.
All right. So we will be back as we usually are Wednesday evening. We appreciate you guys' patience. Hopefully, we'll get this one out as quickly as we can. But I'm not sure there's any fights, but if there are this weekend, I believe there are. Diego Pacheco, I believe, is going to be on this Saturday, but we'll definitely be talking about it on Wednesday. Cool. So until then, as always, guys, we appreciate you guys' patience with us, and thank you for stopping by. For my co-host, Andrew, don't get it twisted, Lapiche, I am Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, and this has been the Mad Boxing Show. Thank you once more for joining us. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Take care. Peace.